Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome to another scene from Mage, Magic from the Ashes, LWoD Mage venue. This scene will take place, or at least it will start, in the Chantry. And, yeah, Nausicaa is basically... she will come in and she will see everybody, and she will tell you that she has an investors meeting, and she has been told by various members of the company that she needs people there to these are like some old school fundies, and they want to be like they want to have a social event. Apparently that's erroneously how they think they do business. So she's going to ask everybody if they will come to her investors meeting, and she insists with scowling they all need to be on best behavior, but there will be food.
Frey immediately jumps up and puts up his hand at the word of food.
That's good. Oh, my computer is spazzing out. Give me a second. Anyways, I would why all the birds had suddenly stopped singing when Noska enters the room, and then nods. I'm not sure why you're asking me to go to your investors meeting. Are you sure I'm not going to scare them off somehow?
They'll probably just think you're some kind of startup hipster. Just be polite. You can tell them that you are involved in a startup that, I don't know, make something up. I really need this. There's not enough people in the office.
But I have my day off today.
If you're trying to get like more people in the office, what do you need? Like, are you hiring?
If you want a job, consider this your interview.
Cool. I've worked on some big companies, I guess you could say, in the past.
I would rather we use your expertise to work out how people can't hack us.
He smiles and giggles.
Ava, would you come? I know it's your day off. Please.
Okay. Is there like a dress code?
No.
Do I need a fancy suit like yours?
My suit is ergonomical, but if you would like a fancy suit...
I'll order one off of Amazon, same-day shipping.
Nausicaa basically says, thank you. If you want to come, Damien, you could consider researching the enemy. Many of these people have ties to securities and big oil, logging, etc.
Excellent. He will give a simple nod, and then rise up and I'm just gonna get something. Give me a second.
Okay, so what time, what place?
At the office in about 3 hours.
3 hours. Okay, sure.
I'll send a car. I'm going to go there now, though. Help set up. Deborah seems to think that they need my input, but I don't believe I can be any help. Deborah's Nausicaa's secretary.
Oh, but she always says that.
Yes. In fact, Ava, if you would like to help plan.
Okay, let me just grab something out of my closet real quick, and so that I can at least change when I'm there? Yeah, sure, I'm coming.
Okay.
Yeah, I will stand up and go to a room and get back with an outfit, and
Awesome. So anyone that wants to come now and help set up, etc., can come now. If not, she will give you the address. It is on 14 Wall Street.
Alec will go as well. He has a drone dropping off his suit, and he's gonna go in and he's gonna put up cameras, like little micro cameras on walls.
He's definitely not.
Shh. You don't know this. You don't know this.
Oh yes, stealth rolls we must.
I will stealth roll.
Fuck yeah, stealth rolls.
Believe in the chance. You can put up cameras, and Oscar's probably too busy to notice.
Yes.
Damien is going to travel the only way he can travel, since he hasn't constructed any means of transportation himself yet. He's going to have to walk like a peasant.
It's
Oh shit!
it's
Nice
pretty
job.
far.
Well, then he's going to run, because he's not taking a car unless he has to, and he
Do you
doesn't.
want a skateboard? I have a skateboard.
We'll have to make one. But my original plan was for him to use some kind of skateboard device and hang on to cars.
You definitely need a Flintstone car, dude.
The thing is, I haven't blue booked making this, so I can't do that yet.
Frey just hands you a skateboard.
He can't use it, so doesn't matter. He will have to run like a sensible person.
I mean, he has 3 hours, so I'm pretty sure he'll be there on time if he actually runs.
Yep.
He'll go through like Manhattan, thinking that everyone's going to think he looks out of place, and then actually they're just like, oh, some fucking hipster.
Yep.
From the Upper East Side.
Exactly.
Probably plays the ukulele. Brings
The
flowers.
most manly of instruments is
And yeah, we will get there. Lupu, do you want to play some hedge funders?
Did you all survive your stealth rolls?
I did.
I did.
I have to make one. Give me a second. I'm trying to run my sheet.
I did.
So actually, let me see if I've got pictures of the place. Weirdly, Damien might quite like it because Ava made it a proper.
Is it the office? Because I have the pictures.
Yeah, it's the office.
Since you all
Okay,
did
give me a
wonderfully,
moment.
since you all did wonderfully on your stealth rolls, I will drop out and enjoy your hedge funding stuff.
Good, man.
If you actually give me a charisma manipulation or charisma subterfuge to basically get your point across, Robbie.
Can I assist?
No.
Charisma. I can do charisma subterfuge. Charisma manipulation doesn't really make sense.
Charisma subterfuge.
I think I have 2 successes.
Ooh, they actually like you. So, yeah, business goes as planned. Have fun, guys.
Deal. And this is the office. Picture's not very sharp, but yeah. This is our main hall in the office. It has like an inside garden and everything. The boxes are like,
It has a whole room for hammocks.
Yeah. I'll show the hammock room. Hammock room is awesome. We needed the hammock room. That was a must.
So yeah, you will arrive, and there's basically a load of wanker bankers knocking around. Nausicaa basically, Deborah will be like shepherding Nausicaa around to talk to all of them. Nausicaa basically is, considering she said she needs people to like be on their best behavior and be social, she's definitely not taking her advice. And she is basically the only thing she seems to care about is like telling them about her quant research, and she thinks basically they should invest basically off the back of that. Some of them seem to appreciate it because they recognize the wisdom in it. Some are definitely just here for the party and the whole fucking bullshit kind of finance stuff. And yeah, what do people want to do? I think we can basically just like quickly narrate like what we do in the main party, and then we can go to like a private room and have a conversation.
My character is going to be standing around near kind of like some of the snack trays, eating a little bit of food and talking with some investors, using his contact or one of his contacts with a big banking corporation to talk to them about finances and institutionalizing their bank systems, gathering intel.
I imagine, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure you get all sorts of different responses. Yeah.
Damien is, of course, going to spend the party in the best manner, lurking about, trying to figure out which people are tied to the most destructive industries and getting their names, because that might come in handy later. But beyond that, you're just skulking about, not touching anything.
And what about the human resources officer?
Oh God, she does look like an officer in this outfit, doesn't she? Well, Ava, or Helena, as her name tag kind of says, will probably be the most socializing out of everyone. Especially compared to Nausicaa. So it's like, where Nausicaa is doing, she's basically not too far away from Nausicaa at all times. And where Nausicaa is doing her sales pitch and then moves on, Helena is doing the part of the social conversation, inquiring after people's business, their health, if they like something to drink, trying to, bind people to the company and just making them enjoy their stay here. And she'll do like the explanation on the building, on how they want to invest in green energy, kind of stuff like that. So she's doing the sales pitch.
It should also be said that Nausicaa would have actually said beforehand, don't use any of your real names. Nausicaa doesn't. Her name is Anna Komnene.
Hit that nay. Hit that nay.
And yeah, I think once the party starts to wear down, some of the bankers begin getting drunk. Nausicaa will basically kind of like look like, how like you see kids when their mums take them shopping and they just look absolutely like they don't want to be here. Nausicaa basically begins to get like that. The food is amazing. The food is like definitely. It's probably being ordered from. I always use Dorsier because it's the restaurant from American Psycho.
Is there a cheesecake?
That restaurant costs so much shit.
But
is there a cheesecake?
I mean, there's like waiters and shit, like literally a millionaire. So we can throw some money around. And yeah, I think eventually she gets bored and she will retire to a room that like it's a very open plan kind of airy office, except this like one room in the corner where which is Nausicaa's office, which is like you can't see through any of the walls and stuff like that. And yeah, she'll basically kind of like look at you all and say, "Come join me." She seems to definitely think that like people don't want to be doing this.
Frey walks closer to the room, shoveling piles of cheesecake in his mouth like he is a human waste deposit.
Yeah, Ava will follow them. She's not eating a lot, but she does have like going to her third glass of red wine. Because it looks classy mostly. But yeah, she'll walk into Nausicaa's office.
Just for added effect, as Frey's walking close to the office, he's going to take an entire tray of cheesecake from one of the waiters and just bring that with him.
This is fine. And yeah, once you were in the office, the door shuts. This is a very different room to the rest of the place. There's like, it looks like way more old school. Like there's mahogany bookcases with large leather-bound books. It's very quiet. There's a very nice kind of, I guess it's like evening by now. So there's a kind of lovely view of Wall Street and Manhattan out the window.
You have your
And
picture of your desk yet?
on my old overlay, I had it. I have.
I have it. Here it is.
Okay, yeah.
That's the desk.
So these like panels are like things from like Greek mythology. And the other thing is there is, if I can find it, like Nausicaa's desk literally has about 12 screens on it. And the other thing is when you're in there, it just feels like there's like you can just on like the peripherals of your hearing, it sounds almost like there's a thunderstorm coming. And for the out of character record, this is Nausicaa's sanctum, so it has some of her resonance.
Just gonna see them just glancing about inside here, examining everything. Very critical of everything, obviously. Clearly.
Frey's sitting on the couch with his giant tray of cheesecake, just continuing to shovel in.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Nausicaa, why are we here in the office and not outside at the party?
I've spoken to everybody. I don't need any more from them. A lot of them I believe, are just here for
Of
the
course.
party.
That's how you bind customers. Making them drunk.
I'm very select in who I work with.
I know.
Many of the people outside are far too risk averse for our strategies. They still wish they could trade on insider tips and the old way of doing things. They have no respect for the maths. They think quant systems are, well, they believe that if quant systems become the way we trade, that their positions will become useless. And the truth is, I agree. Most of the people out there are useless.
Ava will take a sip of wine to basically hide the smile on her face.
So, Kyler, you said you wanted a job.
Okay, out of character, Frey. But
Sorry.
yes,
Fred,
or, he
you
goes.
wanted a job.
He goes. Yes.
Well, you should speak to our human resources department. And he
He
points
looks
to
at the
Ava.
wall.
He points at Ava. She points at Ava.
Oh, then he looks at Ava.
Ava looks at the both of them. What? I mean, you want a job? Nausicaa already gave you a job.
He like turns his head sideways. She did. He looks very confused.
I said this was an interview.
Sorry, everything froze. What did you say?
Nausicaa says, I haven't given him it yet. This was the interview.
Ah. Well, then there's no looking at me for. If you've just finished your interview, then you should say whether he's hired or not.
I think the point he's trying to make is that he hasn't done the interview yet and that he would like you to do it. But I mean, that's just my understanding of the situation.
It's more that like an interview should, and also because it's trying to involve Ava in the process.
Okay. Yeah. So Frey, why would you like to work for Iliad Resources?
Well, I mean, I consider you guys my friends, so I mean, I guess that's one thing. Plus, I don't really, I guess, need a job, but it would be nice to get more info on the city and the higher ups in the city due to the fact of I lost my current position at my last job. So it would be nice to get back up there in the structure of things and rebuild.
All right. And what are your qualifications of working with us?
He just kind of like looks blank for a second and then walks over to Nausicaa. Can you plug this flash drive into one of your monitors and scroll down to resume? It's way too much for me to just say.
She'll happily do it.
Under the resume, it shows almost every type of coding language that you can. 2 different college degrees in computer sciences and uh, advanced mechanical applications. Also, it shows all of like the amount of stockbrokers that he has questionably got intel from and resources from, and the amount of companies that he has infiltrated successfully, and just a absorbent amount of list of shit. And he's also registered black hat hacker under the FBI.
I'll have a look at Nausicaa because, quite honestly, she's not a technical or computer-based nerd. She's a book nerd, so.
Nausicaa looks at it. I think they've briefly kind of discussed this kind of stuff in the past, and she'll say, as long as you promise to use these talents of yours appropriately and against the correct people.
Very well. I don't wish to. Oh, I guess you can count me as a computer-based Robin Hood, if that makes sense.
Well, seeing as Robin Hood stole from the rich, and I am the rich.
But he stole from the rich that others and him thought were evil and corrupting society. Not all rich.
Money. Just a disapproving shake of his head at that.
It's for your information, Nazca. I technically am also rich, so that doesn't matter. I don't need your money. Nor would I want to have it.
Nausicaa nods. Good. However, for tax income purposes, it will be inappropriate not to give you some kind of wage if you want it. I've
It's
found that
whatever.
it's also good for avoiding the union's influences if you want to continue in the city. Naturally, Damien, if you want to continue as you are, I believe that is an effective, if much less comfortable strategy too.
He could be a bouncer for the building. He looks pretty big.
No.
Or maybe
Never
we
mind.
could fund some kind of ecological startup.
No.
Ooh, what about construction crew?
No. This is not a discussion. I'm not interested in money.
What are you interested in?
I'm interested in other things, but let's put it mildly. What I want to do is would require as little money as possible. However, I do barter, but indeed, that's where it begins and ends.
We could always, or I could always purchase some sort of production company and then barter him goods that we make and for his services instead of money. I'm
Nausicaa
just
looks
throwing
at him.
shit out there. Just throwing shit.
In my opinion, money is a simple formalization of an advanced bartering process, but I know you like to keep things simple. If you ever need anything to make your life easier,
And I will make it myself. Yes, indeed. Now, do you have any news on the union or other significant issues?
yeah. Me and Ava went to visit somebody, and there were developments.
What kind of developments?
We found out that the person we thought was creepy and incredibly suspicious is creepy and incredibly suspicious. I believe
And
that.
the sun
I'm
is-
sure. That level of insight must be hard to come by.
I mean, we can always exploit his son by making that one girl go out with him, and then, you know.
Or we could leave them alone and never have any contact with them in the future.
Which girl?
But that's no fun.
Yes, which girl?
The one that was at the tea shop. I forget her name. I only met her like, I don't know.
Oh, that's a thing, by the way. Did I mention that to you guys?
Hmm.
Yes, I did.
What?
She was the one that gave. I think that she gave that pen.
Oh,
I had a
yes.
dream about her.
Grace's ex-husband's current.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the reasons he is suspicious. To enlighten you, Damien. One of our number, Grace. Before she was awakened, she had. It's her personal business, so I will keep the information light, but she had an unfortunate relationship with her ex husband. We have now found that he works for the Technocratic Union, and we believe they are using him to get to her or somehow find her.
Kill him, then.
This has been suggested.
I mean, I can try to find him.
We found him.
And we
Oh.
can't just go killing everybody who works for the technocrats. We won't have anyone left in the
Well,
the city.
we can always
Cut
do
his
a
spinal
little bit
cord.
more. Well, no, then we don't have to make it physical. We can steal all of his assets and then plant false information, making him look like a spy for us to the technocrat and have them deal with him, or have him discredited.
Ultimately, the decision on what happens lies with Grace, but the plan was reached to. He was recently out of prison for. Well, we don't need to go into that, but he was recently in prison. Grace's
Domestic
idea.
violence.
Also, he doesn't say anything to that. But the idea was we believe him that he is on parole. If he were found with a large amount of illegal drugs, then this would violate his parole conditions.
I mean, we may or may not have a stash of um fun things on the roof to move locations to.
Yes.
I still think it's a bit unnecessary that we have so many drugs on the roof.
Hey, don't take away my drugs.
I'm not touching that stuff, so feel free to keep using it yourself.
Well,
It can come in handy for certain mind effects.
Nausicaa looks torn between disapproving of Ava, but also she doesn't really want to agree with Damien.
Lol. Sorry.
But
Moral
yeah,
dilemmas.
exactly. But this plan is being worked on. Ultimately, it's Grace's purview, and I believe that it has been made one of the conditions for her joining a tradition dealing with this problem. However, obviously, it has become an issue that she was there.
So what is this tradition thing that you guys keep talking about?
Oh,
Organized groups of people like us with specific beliefs and styles based on what I've been told.
more or less.
Hmm.
Throughout history, the Awakened have organized themselves into groups, as Damien says, with similar beliefs, paradigms, ways of doing things. Some of it is based on geography as well. These groups have, from my understanding, within the last millennia, allied into a group that call themselves the Order of Traditions, mystical traditions. For example, me and Ava are both current members of a group called the Order of Hermes.
So you guys worship the male boy of the gods?
Not
I
He
would.
like he tilts his head as like he actually doesn't understand.
The Order of Hermes has its roots in ancient Egypt, Greece, anywhere where learning was put above base superstition. Me and Ava are extremely tolerant members of the Order. However, I would advise not speaking light of us.
Ava will again take a sip of the wine.
I would advise not speaking light of us around other members of our Order. Our Order holds the seat of forces,
I see.
which means throwing fireballs at you are not out of the question.
Well, I mean, as much as I want a little bit of roast on my cheesecake, I think I think I'll be fine sitting here on the comfy couch. He just kind of pats the couch.
Don't worry, I don't think either of us would throw a fireball at you that easily.
No.
Mainly because we're in an office. She looks at Nausicaa like we're in your office. Also because our strengths doesn't necessarily lie with forces. That's the strength of our tradition, though.
My character is going to take a peek at his phone and kind of scroll through the different video feeds, checking out on the party. Is there anything suspicious going on, or is everything just kind of chill?
I imagine there's one of the creepy hedge funds is like hitting on one of the waitresses or something, but nothing too untoward. Let's say as you look down, she slaps him in the face and throws champagne at him, and he
He's
gets
gonna
thrown
he's
out.
gonna giggle and like hold his mouth as he turns off his phones and put it back in his pocket and just like, nope, didn't say anything.
Well, clearly you saw something.
Have you ever heard of a GIF?
Yes.
It is a GIF.
Uh-huh.
I would suggest that both of you look into joining one of these traditions. Learning magic is an ultimately personal experience, but having some guidance on the way is extraordinarily helpful. Both me and
So
Ava have profited
how do
greatly.
we find which one that we should go to, and like how do we talk to them? Like you can't just like be like you should. I mean, there's like I can walk left. Will I find one left?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you have to do. You walk,
There
there's
is.
a rite of passage with these things. Each one of them have different rites of passages. He's clearly onto something here. He's just trying to give a subtle thumbs up to the hermetics. You
He will stand up and just start walking left.
you have to just walk left and continue to walk left. It's a ritual sort of thing. Even if you walk into a wall, just keep walking left, and eventually they will show up. It's how they reveal themselves.
He knows that he's mocking my character, but my character has too much self-esteem and too much like pride to like not do it, so he's going to stand up and do it anyways.
No, there's information on the traditions in the library that we have in the Chantry. And from there on, we know some of the locations of where some of the traditions are. Others, well, we'll have to find out. We can help you with that.
We have contacts we can help you with. There are some of them already in the Chantry. If any of you feel that you could join the Order of Hermes, me and Ava would likely be able to help. Maybe even vouch for you. Maybe.
Yeah. Nausicaa still needs a student.
I would have to know what you guys believe in first in order to do that. I mean, I don't know.
Science. Even
Science?
more mystical of us believe that magic is a form of science and can be codified, and that learning and
Evening, Peter. You have 500.
Oh shit.
paradox.
Frey looks in the sky. 500 what, my goddess? 500 what?
And we believe
That-
that learning.
That was when the
500 what?
Technocratic Union attacked.
We believe that learning and your own will is what grants you the ability to exert your power over magic.
Hmm.
However, for you, there is an order that I think fits, and she'll look at Ava. The virtual adepts.
Ava will nod. It
You
sounds
should-
appropriate, but that was what it did to you as well.
Yes. They are the most recent tradition. Formerly members of the Technocratic Union. Not dissimilar to you.
That's kind of funny. So was I.
Exactly. I have a lot of respect for their work, but they're too informal for my tastes.
My character looks at himself and was like, kind of questioning for a bit. Is this too formal?
Honestly, I don't know. They're an eclectic bunch. However, they are also one of the easier ones to contact because we have one of them in the Chantry. You met Tasha, no?
Did I? Out of character?
I guess not. Nolska will assume you did because she's the person who will like sort out your identity and stuff like that. So actually, yeah, I think you did.
Is that the one that's in the computer room in the bottom?
Yep.
Yeah, I did.
You should speak to her.
Very well. So, I'm think that your guests may be getting a little rowdy with us being in here and not having any sort of social hierarchy in the room to keep them under control. Are we going to continue to hide out in this room, or are we going to, make sure that no one gets a divorce?
I think you're right. And Nozick is going to stand up, open the door. Everybody go now.
Nausicaa, that's not
They-
how you do it.
When Nausicaa turns back, Damien will give her a thumbs up.
And yeah, she'll just shut the door. There we go.
And-
That's how you
Ava-
deal. That's how you deal with people.
Ava will roll her eyes and will, stand up and leave the office. Like, escorting people out more mannerly.
Frey's gonna look at his phone and observe everybody leaving and their reactions.
So I imagine some of them are like, what the fuck? Some of them might laugh. Some of them, yeah, maybe too drunk to go. But I mean, ultimately, they'll be escorted out within probably.
I'm gonna love that dude with champagne all over his jacket still in the bathroom. Comes back and just everyone's gone.
But, yeah, eventually they will all leave. I imagine all like hedge fundies are all on ridiculous diets they've been put on by personal trainers. So I imagine there's a shitload of food left.
Nice.
She'll turn to
Frey's
Damien
gonna
once we're kind of out into the
do
main
the
office.
solid snake sneak out and just grab a few trays from waiters as they're walking past the hallway and just stack them up on his arms before he walks back into the room.
A lot of this food, Damien, is going to be thrown out. I could tell you which bin it's in if you wish to hunt for the food. Norska's actually not taking the piss. She's kind of trying to make it easy for him.
Did you just say hunt?
Yeah.
I don't really
Okay.
scavenge food that people have already made, so no, thank you. I do, however, appreciate sentiment.
How are you eating? Out of curiosity.
There's
There's not exactly.
There's
Wow.
actually a garden on the top floor, with lots of food plants. I participate in, helping them grow in my minor capacity. Therefore, I, help making the food, so to speak, and I make it for myself.
Do you fast at all?
I don't fast. Fasting is irrational.
Do you hibernate?
No, I do not hibernate.
Do you squabble with your own kind?
I do not have my own kind to squabble with, so no.
He kind of laughs as he looks against you and Nautica, like, yes, you do.
Ava just looks slightly confused at all this. Doesn't know this.
Oh, I should explain.
Person.
By the way, this new person is dressed in furs and what looks to be like very, very, very homespun wool and cotton.
Oh wow.
So just to explain, since we haven't had an opportunity to talk previously, I do not eat or use anything that I haven't made myself in some way.
Hey, Nazca, I have a question.
Here, I suppose. And he will point to shoes that are made out of wood. I also have plant matter sandals for comfort.
Are you a libertarian or a hipster?
Must be a very complicated lifestyle.
Not really.
Hey, Nazca, so I have two questions for you.
Sure.
First question is, am I technically hired at this point?
Why not?
Okay, well, in that case, I'm gonna add a point slash to that first question. What job title do I have? Like, what do you want me to do?
Nausicaa looks towards Ava.
I mean, with your qualities and with Nausicaa's recommendations, I think we could put you on security.
Yeah, I could do cybersecurity if you want.
That was the word I was looking for. Thank you. We
Yes.
don't really have anyone in there who does that. We just have, firewalls and shit.
In fact, I have an interesting first task. I would like you to attempt to gain unsolicited access to my computer here.
To your computer?
We'll do it tomorrow.
Fair enough.
Out of character, I actually think that would be quite fun.
Yeah, I can give that a shot. And for question number 2, if I'm technically hired now, if I want to go get my driver's license, can I put it under like you guys pay for it and then get taxes back for it at the end of the year?
I don't see why not. As long as you remember not to use the name that you were working with under the union.
Yeah, I'll use this one. He like shows her a business card. This is the first time that Nazca has seen Frey's business card. And it just says Frey Simple and underneath Black Hat Hacker and a number.
I would prefer it if you didn't use the term hacker when working here. As you said, cybersecurity.
I won't, but this is my old business card. I am freelance after all.
Good. Well, that was profitable.
Well, like I said, if you would come to the office at 9 tomorrow and get in touch with my assistant, then I'll have you fill out some forms and you're good to go.
Out of character, I'll just blue book getting my driver's license and blue book coming to the office and doing
Yeah.
I-9 paperwork,
Totally.
W2s.
Totally. Yeah.
Just have fucking Lupu or fucking Duncan just look at that, be like, what the fuck?
Ava at that point kind of looks at Nausicaa and squints her eyes a little. Do you think we still need a replacement for James at some point? He was a CEO, after all.
Wait, I don't think he was.
I think you made like James, Ava, and yourself like basically.
Partners, yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically what I was getting at. If I'm using the wrong terms, whatever. Fuck my life. I don't do economics. I work in healthcare.
An almost like dark look kind of overcomes Nausicaa. I mean, at the mention of James. And she'll just shrug.
Do you need a hug?
It's
You look
just
sad.
something that we might want to think about whether we want to find a replacement for him here or not.
Alec will walk up to Nazca and lay down a plate of cheesecake and some other essentials like champagne, stuff like that. Here. You look sad. Comfort food.
I do not need comforting. I'm in perfect control of my faculties. Thank you, though. She looks a little annoyed, just in general. We can talk about that later, Ava.
Yeah, sure. I just figured at some point.
No, you're quite right. You're quite right. We should not leave it too long.
Unless, like, I mean, if we don't need to, it's not. Well, never mind. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
So, while we have some of us here, we could briefly explain some other things. The Cabal, as we operate, we are democratic in the pure sense of the word. What we do is voted on. People take certain positions, certain responsibilities, and any big decisions are made by us as a collective. One of the main issues facing us at the moment, which I believe both of you may be able to assist with. No doubt you have been into the basement of the Chantry, the place where Ava does a lot of work, and you have seen a large stone door.
What about it?
This leads to the temple, and we have been unable to access it recently.
Leads to what temple?
The temple.
Well,
It is
do
a
you have any
portal.
guesses on how to unlock it?
Yes, it has been unlocked for quite a while. It's a portal to subdimension of this world. A ruin of a, I guess, Buddhistic-looking temple.
We believe it is what called a horizon realm, created by a group called the Akashic Brotherhood,
I
a group
see.
of mystics from mostly Asia.
So, what would you like us to do about it?
The place got attacked not too long ago. This is why we closed the portal, to keep them from spilling into our chantry. We were not at strength at that point to defeat whatever enemy attacked it. Neither do we know why it did what it did. There were some kind of spirits.
I see.
We barely managed to close the door. And, well, one of our recent missions to a technocratic facility was so that we could obtain the help of a rather powerful mage to put a well to put a wall up to protect that area with the temple against outside enemies. However, now we need to at some point open the gate again, and we'll probably find enemies there again, which we will have to defeat before we can put up our wards.
Well, as my mom and dad always used to say, well, my mom first, She would always say, if you find someone in front of you who you think is bigger and badder than you, tase them in the nuts. As my dad always used to add in, make sure you double tap them in the face afterwards. Make sure they don't get up.
Well, while I appreciate the analogy, the creatures that have taken over the temple will eventually need routing. And once this is done, the person that we have been working with will provide us with effective protection. But it will take a military endeavor to take the temple back.
So, industrial tasers. Gotcha.
My advice would be prepare yourself. Many of us, in fact, I believe almost all of us, were effectively had no experience of combat until we became awakened. Think of some way that you can be useful in a fight.
I actually have some experience in combat.
There you
Can't
are.
remember off the top of my head anymore. Weren't they fighting with ice, or were they fighting with fire? We were fighting with ice.
Fire.
Uh,
James summoned a sword made of pure cold. It seems
Yes.
incredibly effective.
Hey Robbie, if you want, or not Robbie, hey Nazca, if you want to, I do know this one thing that could be helpful. I'm not sure how helpful, but if you want to help me supply and get a giant stock of like some, like, I don't know, basic Android phones, nothing, doesn't have to be too expensive, just like, I don't know, like I don't know, even an iPhone version 4 would work. If you want to like stock up on those, I can overclock them and make time bombs out of them. Just shove them all in a room and then hoard them in one by one. Make a little grouping of them and then boom, pop goes the weasel.
Well, they did seem susceptible to injury. I would leave it up to you how you want to do this, but I would think about protection and attack. Your sling, for example, Damien.
I have ways to fight. That was sort of potentially coming with a dumb question, but do we know much about the things occupying this temple? Is it just Union, or what else is it? Because it spazzed out, so I didn't hear if there was anything in it.
I think they are spirits. I think they were using the passageways between the Horizon Realm and the rest of the Umbra to gain access, and since we didn't have any wards up, they could just freely slip in.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Little dragons.
Hey, Nazca, are you good with machinery?
Define.
I've been trying, well, for a while now, and dabbling in it, making some prototypes of some nanobots. If you want to help me see if we can figure out how to properly make one, we could potentially give ourselves hardened skin, for instance.
If this is something you'd like to do, I'd be interested in seeing your plans.
Awesome. You want to look at them tomorrow after I break into your computer?
After you attempt to break in. But yes.
Yeah, he meant what he said.
Yeah, Nozick is correcting you. Yes.
Sounds like fun. I think we're gonna have a quite the interesting day. He kind of like slightly rubs his hands together deviously. By the way, Nazca, um, I do want to talk to you in private after, like, if whenever you're available, if you are willing to.
Also, gonna squint slightly. Why?
Well, if I told you right now, that would defeat the entire purpose of being talked to in private, would it not?
Half again takes a sip of wine.
Okay. I would have you know I don't keep secrets.
It's not really a secret.
Okay then. Nausicaa looks very suspicious at this subterfuge.
Tis not subterfuge, no dice being rolled.
Was there any questions that you two had?
Not yet, no. I do, since there's going to be combat, and since there is danger when moving around in the city, I'm just being distracted formulating some projects so I can make myself more useful in certain situations.
Question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
There are some rooms upstairs that are available for experimenting if you like. Also, in your case, I would advise the greenhouse on the rooftop garden.
I live on the roof in the rooftop garden.
Well, then feel free to use that.
By any chance, do you want a forge?
I can do preliminary forging myself. I only work with bronze and tin anyway. But
I
even then,
figured
very
useful.
basic. Very basic. I'm not.
Yeah, I think I don't think I have any more questions. Nazca, do you have any questions?
No. I would simply think that the pair of you should prepare yourselves.
Well, I will. Now, since you people are using cars and such to transport yourself, I will need a head start. So I'm going to start walking now. And that is going to leave.
I don't think that you exactly meant we were doing it now, but well, I guess since he's gone, well, too late for that. You'll have to learn out, I guess, another day.
He is a strange person.
I agree.
Aren't we all in some fashion?
Yes. However, I will give it to him. The sling he used against the technocrats definitely worked. At least to an apprentice level.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that story yet.
When me and Julie rescued him, 2 vans were chasing us. He used a sling like, well, I suppose like David. And, well, the effect was much the same.
He defeated Goliath.
I believe it was some form of Mercedes Transit, but yes, the effect was largely overextended than what I expected.
I was speaking metaphorically, of course.
I know. You have instructed me pretty well on the vagaries of metaphor.
You are the one starting with Daniel. Sorry, Daniel? Blah, blah, blah. What's his name? David. Daniel.
Exactly.
Very well.
Alec just kind of scratches the back of his head in this now silence.
Well, unless there's anything else.
Yeah, I'll just have a walk through the office to see what mess still needs to be cleaned up.
Well, then I guess as she walks through the office, Alec takes this time to walk up to Nazca, and then he pulls out of his back pocket a flash drive, and then holds it out to her over the desk.
What is this?
This is a copy of, the flash drive I carry around, in case anything that does happen to me, or, well, frankly, if I die, or anything else like that, I would like you to have one for safekeeping. It has all the records I've ever taken on it, so it could be useful.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. I just wanted somebody that I could trust to have a copy of it just in case.
You should not give your trust so freely.
Well, I mean, we are in the same cabal, so, he just kind of shrugs his shoulders. If anything happens, I suppose we have an entire cabal to figure something else to do with it.
Nausicaa shrugs then and put it in a pocket. I think we should be getting home.
I agree. Do you want to order pizza?
No, I already ate.
I see. Then I'll order one myself. And since you already ate,
Nausicaa's looking like she definitely looks a bit like I don't know, like she sort of feels that Alec is being like very familiar, and yeah, she'll walk over and be like, "Ava, we should go."
this is his attempt to make friends as well. It's two antisocial people who don't have friends trying to make friends. It's very awkward.
That is funny. And yeah, I think we can go. And I believe we can call it a scene. I know it's late for Eurotrash.
Sure, Brexit. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This was another scene for Living Well with Darkness, the Mage venue.